Never before in all our history have these forces been so united against one candidate as they stand today. They are unanimous in their hate for me, and I welcome their hatred.
The needs of working families and the middle class, not just the billionaire class. We know what's going on. We are paying attention.
Oh, good morning, everybody. It's the end of the corporate age and the beginning of something crazy going on at G20. Hopefully that's going to end soon. The headlines on HuffPost said that half of Hamburg was on fire. And Markus was telling me earlier, not only was that a bit of an exaggeration, but that it was kind of dumb to have G20 in Hamburg just for placement of other things. And we'll talk about that. We are going to talk a little bit about G20 because there's bad things happening there, or protests, awareness, police being dicks, and there's funny stuff happening there that we can't not talk about. The message for today, even though the end song is, well, the end song is a good message, but the message for today for me is really, we got to laugh. You got to laugh. If you're going to die, which we're all going to die, and if we run the risk today of dying a lot earlier than we thought we might, you got to laugh at all of it, everything, even if it's horrific. And so we're gonna do a lot of that today, I think. But good morning, everybody. Michael Stapleton and Markus is here, of course, and we've got Dennis here, and we've got Laura live and good. All three of them here, but I don't have them all in the shot right now. But we'll say hi to them in 1 second. I want to say hi to everybody in the audience: Jupiter, Judy, and Paula, and Metalhead, and Denise. Else in here, Steve Collins, how you doing? Hope you're feeling better. I think I saw on Facebook you said you weren't feeling that good. I hope you're feeling better. Who else is here? Scrolling down, Melissa H, how are you? I will do my best with the F-bombs today. I wish I had a beep button, right? Or a way to split this into two, somebody to do the beeps for me so you guys
couldn't we implement a counter or something like this?
Well, but she listens at work. Hey. And I know a lot of people listen at work, and I'd hate it if you were like listening on a speaker and you got some kids like, I want to buy this, and all of a sudden you hear, bark, 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 bark. Kid be like, run away. It's not going to be good for your business. I get that. Hey, Jeffrey Pearson.
Did you have someone on Twitter police coming you after you for that?
I did. We're going to talk about that too, because instead of getting mad, it made me laugh. Somebody told me I got the Twitter potty mouth police. I didn't know they existed. It's a nice person, Barbara Ann, but I don't know who the hell she is. And I'm like, I've had a lot of people say some things back to me when I say shit on Twitter, but never watch your mouth. So that was kind of cute. You're absolutely right. I have caught a lot of shit, though. I will say, Barbara Ann, although you're probably not watching the show and you never will, that I get a lot of shit for being Bernie 2016 TV and using foul language. Sorry, I'm not Bernie. Bernie grew up in a different generation, and he's got his choices, and I will use every goddamn word I choose, because the words that come out of my mouth will never be as horrid as the actual things that the people I'm yelling those words at have done. Right? I haven't murdered any babies. I haven't sent thousands to war for oil. I haven't raped the planet for my own greed. I haven't forsaken the people that elected me. Right? I'm just using bad words. So when we talk about the difference between what I'm doing on Twitter and the actual criminals that I'm calling out, let's put things in perspective, okay? Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
You are just illustrating the mess.
I am. Yeah. I am. And listen, I get it. I could take a higher road. There are levels here, and not use any foul language and make my commentary G-rated for everybody. But fuck that. I'm 47, and I don't have to do that shit anymore. My kids are grown up, and I don't. No.
Yeah.
It's not
you
going to
don't
happen.
have the FCC monitoring what you do, so heck.
Right. Good morning, Laura. I'm good. How are you doing today?
Good morning. I'm doing very well today.
Everybody
beautiful sunny day here in California.
Is it? Dennis, how you doing today? Sorry, Laura. I
Good
didn't mean to
morning.
cut you off.
Okay.
No, no, yeah, no, finish. What were you talking about? You're talking about pot? Is that what you're going to say? The plants?
No, hot. Very hot.
Which rhymes
Very
with
hot.
pot? She's grown 2 plants, you know that, guys.
Okay, no, you can get over to Dennis again. It's not about
Get back to Dennis.
No.
Now he's hot. Dennis is hot.
I did say that this morning. Dennis is looking hot. Check it out, everybody. And he's letting that beard go. Aren't you, Dennis?
Good morning, everyone. Yeah.
All right. Are you happy looking at? And Markus, of course, German number 1.
Yes, yeah, German number 1 with less face hair. And anyway, good morning, America. And I hope you guys enjoy the weekend and enjoy our show.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I'm sorry. I'm reading comments. People who swear are more honest. They say.
It's also my opinion.
Is it?
It's also my opinion. I swear all the time because, like I said once, if you have something in your mind, let it out. Let it out.
Right.
Doesn't
Right.
If someone is offended about it, hey, it's their problem, not your problem.
Mm-hmm.
End of the discussion for me.
There you go.
Yeah. I don't have a lot of patience with people who offend easily.
Yeah.
It's such a self-cherishing thing. You know, it's my feelings and everything. Everybody needs to conform to what I need to make myself feel okay for really petty things. And everything's about me. And somebody says something, it's to hurt me. And
Yeah. And I just
life's
want
too
to
short.
sorry. And I just want to quote the waitress in The Big Lebowski who said, "You are using too much cuss words." And Lebowski answered, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
All right. Enough about cuss words and F-bombs. The audience is, good morning,
Where
everybody.
is
Hey,
them?
Chemo, how you doing? Thank you. Brom, good morning. John Warren, how could you possibly not enjoy this show? It's just too amazing. I don't know. You know, we've maintained the same 400 or less audience for quite some
We're
time.
freaking consistent.
We know our demo here. So everybody that's here, you're of a very select group of people, and everybody that watches the show later on, just consider yourself part of a very wonderful small group of people. We're just gonna put it that way. And maybe someday we'll be known around. That's not even my goal. It doesn't matter. Working on democracy. That was the. Let me tell you why. The person in Twitter. We're going to talk about other stuff. G20, I promise. But the person in Twitter, I might as well just get this out of the way. So we're talking. Said, why don't you stop attacking people and focus on democracy? Work on the party. And I'm like, what a great idea. I have no, that's a fantastic idea. I don't know who anybody would be talking that way, or I've never heard that idea before of actually like doing groundwork. And again, like I'm the guy who 2 years ago did nothing but rant and wasn't doing any groundwork, and now I've just stepped into the waiting pool of groundwork, right? Working with the Democratic Party and now the Progressive Party of Oregon and whatever. And I'm finding out how interesting it is. I'll go with that word. Challenging, rewarding in many aspects, because it really is like when you do something on the ground and do it, it's there, it's done, it's reality. We're going to talk about that too with Elon Musk and making renewables a reality for Australia, which is going to have a big impact beyond what we know. But you know, it's you're proud to be one of 400 out of 330 million. Yeah, I know. And you're really one of the proud 300 to 400 on YouTube, which means billions. So it's not, put it into that perspective, because we do have an international audience here. There's like a couple different people from every country that watch this show to some extent. So I mean that.
I've been telling that we the people, and I'm describing it as kind of like the format is almost like an international town hall format. You're taking questions from all over the world, and that that's I think that's kind of unique.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Ashley Terry, thank you for pointing that out. Next week's pseudo-intellectuals, which I'm enjoying more and more as we do this, even though I have to be reminded it's Sunday and I got to do a goddamn show at night. It's only when it's really hot. It was really hot last time. I was like, but air conditioning. I need air conditioning. So the pseudo-intellectuals show is going to be about democracy. What is it good for? Which is a great question. as we try to figure out how to control it again. So I think that's a great topic. Join us for that. That will be this Sunday at 7. Oh, Michael Rowe, thank you, sir. Or Michelle, I'm sorry, Michael. See, I'm terrible with names, by the way. If you hadn't figured out already, I don't get people's last names correct, and I rarely read their first name right when I'm looking at the chat. So,
I think you would never be able to pronounce my last name.
no, you're Dennis G. That's
Yeah.
what I got.
Yeah.
I look
Because
at it,
my
I just go,
tradition-
so pronounce it. How's your last name pronounced? Say it.
Gökpina.
Gokpinar. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was
okay.
okay, it was okay.
I
Come on.
accept it because it's with the English with the American accent, so it's okay.
Right. Well, if you give me, here's where it ends up being if Americanized, Dennis, it becomes a Gokpinner. All right.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah,
Dennis Gokpinner. Got it.
yeah.
Got it. See, that's and if you'll accept that Americanization, we can get along just fine, Dennis. We really can.
As always, my friend. As always.
Dennis G. It is.
Dennis G. See why that works so much better. Anyway, I don't even remember what the hell I was talking about with that. I was just going off on stuff. Last names of people. I have no idea because there's so much been going on. We were talking about the Twitter lady and getting in democracy and ground game, and I thought, you're right. But I did respond to her. I was nice. I didn't cuss. I responded because she said she was going to report me to Twitter and let them handle me. I'm like, really? I mean, I'm not making death threats. I'm not.
The Twitter police.
Hey, Ed Ray Pappy 23, 401 first time watcher. Very nice. 401. I like that. Good to see you. How you doing? Barbara Bartleson, how are you? Jeffrey Pearson, you actually got it spelled correctly there and everything. That's impressive. It's impressive. I want to say something about that. Americans lack a decent cultural education. Most Americans really lack a solid second language. And I don't think we understand what we're missing there. The language pronunciation issues that I'm having probably wouldn't be so bad. I mean, one, if I took the time to actually give a shit and practice, okay, which real hosts do. I'm going to practice that name before I go live to say that name. That's really what I'm supposed to be doing. But the other thing is Dennis, Marcus, look, Americans get a second language or they can have a second language in high school or junior high sometimes. And maybe they end up continuing that language and doing well with it, but usually not. Marcus, Dennis, when do you guys start learning a second language in your schools?
Dennis?
I started in the fourth grade English.
That's ridiculous.
I was fourth grade I was 9 years old when I started learning English.
Wow.
And my mom speaks 5 languages, my father 3. So therefore I was taught to introduced to many languages also at home. So yeah.
Wow. Marcus, you about the same?
It's a typical thing here.
Fourth
to learn a second language.
It's similar, as Dennis is a little bit younger than me. He started in the 4th grade. I started in the 5th grade. And yes, until the 13th grade, I had English all the time. And but I think English lessons are important, but it is not the only thing. I think you gotta stay in touch with the language. You gotta practice it.
Yeah.
Right.
In the daily life, and this is more important than just following teachers' lessons. I had a very good English teacher. He said when there was no internet and stuff like this, and on TV there was not much English. He said just switch on the radio and listen to BBC or BFBS, which were the military stations here in Germany. Mm-hmm. And he said, you even don't need to listen to them. Just have it running in the background, because you will get used to the sound of the language, and this will help you a lot. And he was absolutely right.
Yeah, and I started with Harry Potter. I first read it in English, and after that, once again in German. So yeah.
Nice. Harry Potter. That's cool.
I feel like a language failure.
Me too.
3 years of Spanish. I speak excellent landscaping Spanish, and that's about it. And I can read it, and I can read the menu.
Was that the textbook, Spanish for landscaping?
Well, that's what I ended up using it for
Well,
in my later
sure,
life.
sure.
And it was actually very handy. And it was handy to be able to understand sometimes what was being said around me when they didn't think I knew what was being said.
Well, right, but I mean, and that makes sense though. That was the world you're working in, so you're going to learn those words, and you were
Yeah, well, in
immersed in that.
California,
Yeah.
Spanish is the second language.
That immersion,
Well, it was anyway.
That immersion, I think, is part of the issue. Like for you and me, there's no cultural immersion anywhere unless we go abroad.
Yeah,
Right?
listening to the radio, reading a book that I want to know in the language. Wow, what a concept!
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, there's so much more we could have done if we really wanted to be truly bilingual. We were just trying to
Yeah.
get through the tests and graduate to the next level.
But it's also a thing of how you are raised at home. For example, I was exposed to several languages, so I really was into foreign languages. So if you're growing up in a family where there are not those kind of conditions, I think it's probably harder for you to learn another language. For example, I think most Americans don't speak a second language.
Not fluently,
No.
not as well as you guys
Yeah,
would speak
but-
English. You know what I mean?
Yeah, academically maybe we could parse a sentence, but it wouldn't sound good, and we wouldn't really understand what we were saying.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the and that's where I'm going here. Like culturally, I'm ignorant in that sense. I'd do a lot better with pronouncing people's names if I'd had practice with at least one foreign language, right? And I had a little bit of French and a little bit of German, right? And a little bit of Spanish here and there. But none of it was comprehensive. None of it was decent. And I never had. I guess what I'm saying is we don't make that a priority in our schools because America, right? Where in other schools, and I don't take this the wrong way. Other nations with other schools in other nations, but they kind of do the same thing. They're like, okay, we're Germany, but English is the dominant language of business in the world, whether we like it or not. So smart for you to learn it because we want to give our children good educations, right? And we encourage you to learn many other languages because you are if you're over in Europe, you're surrounded by multicultural. It's amazing what you've got around you. You have no choice.
Exactly.
You know, Belgium, they speak French, right?
French,
Flemish.
Dutch,
Right.
and Flemish, and Wallonian.
Right.
And
Well,
English, very, very, a lot of languages. You
Right.
will never. I think it will probably. The older generation, okay, they will not be so educated in languages, but the younger generation, my generation, we speak at least 2 or 3 languages.
That's and see, the other thing with America is we're exposed to little bits of whitewashed culture through our schooling system, and we start language late. Shit, if I'd started a second language in 3rd or 4th grade, your brain's a fucking sponge. There's an F-bomb.
Yeah.
Sorry, Melissa, but your brain's a sponge when you're that young. Right. Once you reach the age of 5, I mean, pre-5, you're still putting your programming together. You get to 5, and boom, you go.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, my parents had friends who went to live in France for a few years when their kids were little. Their kids were absolutely fluent with no accent whatsoever.
Yeah.
They were elementary school age, and then they came back to the States, and by the time they were teenagers, they virtually lost it. But they picked it up and absolutely undetectable.
Yeah.
After just a couple of years at that age.
Yeah, I wish that I'd focused more when I was younger on languages because it would have been easier to learn, right? I really wish. I wish I'd picked one and stuck the whole way through, right? I want to learn a language over there. German would be cool because I have some background in it, right? And I got these 2 Germans that yak at me all the time. So
Plus, that might be where we need to run away to anyway.
Right. Germany might be a good.
Go live in Markus' attic there. He's got room.
About this, I got another show in mind. We could call it German Lessons with Dennis and Markus.
Hey, I'm all for it. Conversational German for the revolution.
Yeah.
That's
you guys just lead it off, and I'll step in and go.
I think one day you will visit us here in Germany, and when we will, in this short of month, when you are here, we will teach you everything. And after you are leaving Germany and we'll go back to the US, you will speak it fluently. I promise you that.
We'll see.
Lesson 1 would cover the most important German cuss words, of course.
Of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
Then we would make up what would be the next shows.
I appreciate
Okay, we should
that.
probably move to the card, don't you think?
I was going to
John?
say we should talk about
Of
this
course,
stuff.
yeah.
This has
Talk
been
Let's
about
move
something.
on.
We're never gonna get through all this.
never. We're never. That's all right. This is Saturday. I
Yeah,
didn't plan.
yeah, it's the Saturday the Bigley Show.
Look, I'm wearing my pot shirt. All right. I didn't
Yeah.
expect it. We're this is in loose mode. We're hanging like Mike Pence and NASA. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
who by the way tried his own jokes. We're going to talk about that too, because it's like we've seen some slightly human, if not scripted sides of our Robotatron politicians. It's kind of interesting. That's why I said if we're going to die, laugh. Might as well laugh. By the way, you guys are having a fantastic conversation. I see so many people with so many comments. Hey, Janine, there are many people who wish they'd paid attention in school. That is part of getting older. It's not just paying attention. I wish that my education system got a little bit more money than the tiny sliver it does, right? I wish my education system was as important to the United States government as the military is, because protecting a bunch of undereducated people isn't as much fun, in my opinion, right? It's just, yeah, I agree with that. Hey, Katie, how you doing? I was going to have you come on and talk about when do you want to be on, Katie, and talk? Not today because we're so late, but let's have you come on and talk about. We're talking about Corbyn. We're talking about Brexit and what's going on there, and I'd love to get your opinion on this because I don't quite understand.
Oh, by the way, perfect that you mentioned. Next Thursday, Corbyn intends to meet Martin Brennan from the EU Commission.
Yes.
And it is the first contact between them, and we will see how this meeting would come around, what Corbyn has to offer in comparison to Theresa May, and I think this would be a good opportunity for Katie to cover this.
I think it's great. Look, it's on the card too. Corbyn is working on it. See?
Oh, right. Okay.
Ivanka,
Wonderful.
Merkel, and more G20 fun. Corbyn is working on it. See, I take time to make
Cool.
this fucking card. It says what it's supposed. But the potty mouth part was down. See, it was down lower. We skipped. We skipped around.
I'm sorry, I brought that up and got you off on the wrong direction. Sorry.
No. Thank you for bringing me back though, because this coming Wednesday, We the People, Paula Jean Swearengin, she's going to be on. She's the one going against Joe Manchin, who's like,
Yeah.
we just want to get rid of his ass, right? Yeah. He's like, run against me if you don't like me. And Paula was like, okay, I'm there, man. Let's go. By the way, Jilly Love, Duolingo is a great app, and I have it, and I just need to add German to it, get going. I was going to do Spanish, change my mind, because I'm not going to Mexico when all the shit goes down. I'll be going to Germany if I can get out of the United States of America. May have to run through Canada and then cross. We'll see. Anyway, so yes, that's a good one. And what did you just say? How's my room? I'll do a video with the grow room, show you what's going on. We've got things are good. Things are looking good. Very good. Yes, they are. Okay, so back to so we got Paula Jean coming on 7/12. Then on the 15th, Scott Galindez will be Iowa. Bernie Sanders, he's working on an interview, okay? We don't have any confirmations of anything yet, but, we're working on it. Scott got the creds to possibly do that. We're going to get interviews with other people. Bernie's going to be there. A lot of other people are going to be there. This is the Iowa CCI. This is from protest to power. This is taking the action from the streets and running for office, supporting those running for office, finding out what we need to do to write new legislation, change laws, repeal and replace people that aren't working for us, right? Which is happening. We're doing this all across America. Republicans are feeling it. We're going to talk more about that too. So anyway.
If Scott can get an interview with Bernie, I'll pass out.
He had one already.
So excited. I know, but
But
he's trying to get time on the schedule for when he's there in Iowa.
I know. If we could get, that wasn't what I wanted to do. There we go. If we can get, we're trying. So I've seen the email correspondence, and we'll see.
He's doing it the right way. He's making a request making a press request, and he can. That's how you do it. And he's got the creds, and he thought he did it very well.
Density. Yeah, Scott can use his silver tongue. Yes. And his Secret Service backed creds. That's really what it is. Hey, Charles, how you doing? Good to see you. AT.
Charles is around.
Yeah. Charles, somebody else working the ground game down here with me. Density, how are you? Lyle, good to see you. Minds.com. I've seen that. Can't remember what it is, though. All right. Anyway, top stories, G20 dystopian nightmare. I'm just going to run, I have a Democracy Now! Piece we're going to run that's talking about police. What's really good. All we're hearing about is how dumb Trump is, which is fun. But let's watch this piece and learn a little bit more about what's going on the streets outside. Remember I said yesterday, as an American, G20 is basically the leaders of the world get together and think that they're doing something, but they're not. Outside, people are pretty pissed off about that. And here's Democracy Now! With that story.
Democracy Now, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Mass protests are continuing across Hamburg, Germany, as world leaders gather for the G20 summit, where President Trump is meeting with other world leaders. Earlier today, demonstrators staged sit-ins at key intersections in the city in an attempt to disrupt the first day of the G20 summit. According to the German news agency DPA, First Lady Melania Trump was unable to leave her hotel because of the protests. On Thursday, about 100,000 protesters took to the streets, marching with banners reading, "Welcome to Hell," and "The world is not for sale." Police used water cannons, tear gas, stun grenades to disperse the protests. According to the police, 29 people were arrested, more than 75 officers and dozens of protesters were injured. Key issues on the G20 agenda include climate change, trade, North Korea, and migration. Protesters say the G20 has failed to solve many issues threatening world peace, including climate change and worsening of inequality. This is Steve Price-Thomas of Oxfam.
We live in a world where just 8 men have the same wealth as the poorest half of the world population. That's 3.6 billion people. Where 1 in 10 people live on less than $2 a day, where almost 800 million people go to bed hungry every night. And that situation is completely unacceptable. We're here at the G20 in Hamburg, and it's essential that the G20 puts reducing inequality #1 on their agenda.
Earlier today, Brazil, Russia, India, and China, the so-called BRICS countries, called on the G20 to push for implementation of the Paris climate deal, despite Trump's decision to pull the United States out of it. Meanwhile, Trump is meeting today with Russian President Vladimir Putin on the sidelines of the G20. We go now to the streets of Hamburg, where we're joined by the Croatian philosopher Srećko Horvat, who took part in the G20 Alternative Summit, the Global Solidarity Summit. He's one of the founders, along with Yanis Varoufakis, of the Democracy in Europe movement, also known as DiEM25. Srećko Horvat's latest piece for The Guardian is headlined, "We came to Hamburg to protest about G20 and found a dystopian nightmare." Srećko Horvat, welcome to Democracy Now! Well, tell us why you've described this as a dystopian nightmare and what you're calling for in Hamburg.
Hello, Amy. I'm really glad to be here from the streets of Hamburg, and welcome to Hamburg as well. Well, I've been to many protests all around the world, from Occupy Wall Street at Zuccotti Park, you remember that times, to Tahrir Square, Syntagma Square, where we're with 50,000 people during the Ohi referendum. But I've never seen such a big amount of heavily armed police, drones, helicopters, water cannon, and so on, as I have seen on the streets of Hamburg yesterday, today, and probably also tomorrow. This summit costs around 50 million euros, and it's happening in one of the biggest cities in Germany. What we could have seen during the last days is that this is really turning into something what the German legal philosopher Carl Schmitt would call Ausnahmezustand, namely state of exception, which means that civil liberties, even peaceful protests, are approached by violent police actions and so on. This is the reason why I call it a dystopia.
Can you describe what the streets are like and what the police response has been?
Well, you can, just a second, because the police is just there. Well, the streets of Hamburg are mostly completely blocked, empty. Public transport, buses and such stuff doesn't even drive, only the metro. You can hear helicopters all the time. Now at this point when we are here, there are many blockades taking place all around this zone, which is very near to the red zone, which is the very place where the summit is taking place. Yesterday protesters tried to have a demo which was called Welcome to Hell. But it was blocked by the police. Unfortunately, even peaceful demonstrations are removed from the police. This is not something unusual. We've seen that in all corners of the world. But I think we should give a philosophical point here. When we complain, when the powers, Angela Merkel and others and the police complain about the violence of the protesters on the streets of Hamburg these days, we should always remember what Bertolt Brecht said. What is robbing a bank in comparison to forming a bank? And the same, I would say, goes now for the G20 in Hamburg. What is the violence on the streets compared to the violence of the G20, of the governments which are part of the G20, of the violence of the Saudis making trade deals with Donald Trump and then bombing Yemen and then bringing ISIS to Manchester and London as a kind of boomerang of all this? What is the violence on the streets of Hamburg these days? A few burned cars compared to the violence of 1 million and more people displaced from Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, and all the wars which are still taking place all around the world. I think we should really deconstruct the notion of violence and what is happening here in Hamburg at the moment.
Well, that pretty much sums it up. Good words.
Good words, but I disagree with the last thing he said. And
really,
this is the part of the violence. Of course, it is not comparable with what's going on in Syria and many other countries. But in the end, this violence was directed against ordinary people, against their cars, against their shops, etc. And what is the constructive idea?
Define. Hang on.
Sorry.
Was it directed against people or their objects?
It was only directed against objects.
Then I would say there was a distinct difference in the violence, right there.
Okay, it was violence against objects, but it doesn't change anything, because what does it lead to? What is the constructive idea behind destroying something?
Well, I agree with you there. There's no constructive idea behind destroying something. That would be you can't have that. But
in my opinion, it was only self-purpose, narcissistic, and it was only the lust for violence and against objects, and it was inconstructive and leads to nowhere, and I don't understand those people.
All right, regardless of that, were the police right to stop it? I mean, the peaceful protest, not the black bloc tactics.
No, John. Absolutely right. I think the police, what the police did was a complete failure right from the beginning. I said it yesterday. It started all on Monday when the first protesters came to Hamburg, and they were prevented from finding a place to sleep. The police hunted those people, and they didn't allow them to build up a tent and take a rest. And all this started with it. We saw it on Friday with the very controversial "Welcome to Hell" demonstration. And what we saw, I watched the live stream, and it was complete obvious that this demonstration was never supposed to happen. The plan was right from the beginning to prevent anything. Although the so-called black bloc demonstrators were told to partly put their mask off their faces, which most of them followed this. And still, the police overreacted, and they said, okay, we got a storm because a handful or even a small number more didn't follow their lead. And they decided to block the demonstration, which was many thousand people strong, only because of a handful of guys who didn't follow their rules. It was planned to escalate. and that the police now is crying about all this. They have a lot of guilt in this. They have not the guilt alone, but they caused in the end they caused a lot of percentage of this damage and violence.
I agree with you, Dennis.
Yeah, I agree totally with Markus. And the best, my eyes, what really angers me about the whole thing is, for example, there was a camp from the peaceful protesters. They had a camp. They were building a camp to sleep over for the night, and it was approved by the city. By law and by the city and by the court, and the police interfered. They damaged they damaged the whole camp, and with no reasons. This was so unlawful, and we're witnessing here something.
It's interesting to hear you talk about that. What? Go ahead.
Germany is really moving to a police state in this regard. If you see all the pictures, they remind me of Ferguson, when the protests were in Ferguson.
Interesting. Because
you see the heavy tanking water thing, and heavy armored police officers, and so on. And heat of the whole operation of the police in Hamburg is known for stuff like that.
Well, you know what's amazing about it to me is different perspectives, because what I saw was a police force that was relatively under control. They were out of control for you guys in general, but they were under control. They didn't have guns. Nobody got shot. Nobody lost arms or eyes.
I'm sorry, Dennis. I've to correct you a little bit, because if you see that the numbers of policemen are decreasing for years, and we cannot talk physically about a police state, but where I agree is what internet is etc. concerns. There you are absolutely right. There was just another law passed during the G20 summit, which allows the government to implement state trojans into computers, and this passed, and nearly nobody noticed this in all the chaos about the G20 summit. And what I want to add quickly to the G20 summit is the plan to hold this G20 summit in Hamburg was a failure. Was another failure right in the beginning, because the location where it took place, the convention center, was only 500 meters away from a hotspot in Germany, in Hamburg. It is an autonomous ultra left wing center. It's a hotspot there. And planning the G20 summit of only so close to this hotspot, I think it is unbelievable they did this, because this was an alarm sign, because the Rote Flora, which is called the center, is known over the borders of Germany, and it was clear that it would attract a lot of demonstrators, which violence in mind. It is unbelievable, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I was backing up and taking a look. What, Dennis? Sorry.
The whole thing is fucked up.
It is.
It's like a pressure cooker. Yeah. You put everything up in, and one point it explodes. My opinion, but
we are not at this point already in Germany, but we will see the aftermath in the next couple of days and weeks, where all this is discussed, and there are already a lot of critical voices which criticize the strategy of the police, and we will see what's going on. And this concerns also Olaf Scholz of the Hamburg government, and who ordered all this.
All right. I can see people talking about violence and the differences in using it or not using it, its benefits, its non-benefits in revolution, in what's going on. We know that the world governments are doing this because they don't give a shit, the people at the top. And we've talked a lot about Michael White's statement that, protest is no longer effective in the United States because our military and our police are inseparable, really. Because we have cops that can get away with murder. Because we don't have laws in place that protect us. Germany has different laws, and they do protect the citizen better. Okay? Not the best, but better. Right? They've evolved. And it's actually safer to protest in Germany, if you think about it.
Yeah.
It's safer. It's certainly safer for white folk. I don't know how it would be. I'm going to guess it's going to be safer for minorities as well. It's certainly not safe here in America to protest if you're not white. Okay, and if you're white, you risk. But really, if you're not white and you're involved in a protest, you're risking being shot by a cop who just doesn't give a fuck and can lie about it and be okay with it. Right? Because they feared for their life. I don't think they can do that. Every cop out there that was doing those things in Germany, and the water cannons, we've seen what damage that does. Thank God it wasn't freezing during G20. Thank God it's not freezing there.
Right.
Right? Like Morton County Sheriff's Department.
The temperatures were very good in Hamburg yesterday, and it was I think for many it was a kind of water games, you know, with what the water guns concerns.
Yep.
Thanks.
So I'm just there's some distinctions there. We're watching where protest on the streets with a more functional democracy can actually maybe have an impact. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe they just don't give a fuck one way or the other. I mean, it's whatever. But they should be allowed to do that. And you hear Dennis and Markus talking about, look, that's over the line, and that's they're attacking our freedoms there. And that gentleman saying, you can't do this. We're becoming a police state, and it's like, no, you guys, look at America. You're not there yet again. I mean, you were there before, and you worked your way out of that. We're on our way, and we're so far ahead of you there. We're number one there. Sorry. Okay, Turkey's still ahead of us, but we're trying to catch up with Turkey really fast, Dennis. We really are.
Yeah, but really, you set the example, and always we Germans are so dumb and follow you.
Yeah.
That's how it looks like.
You guys laugh. We adapted the capitalistic system from the USA. A lot of the culture from the USA. Germany is in many parts willing to do the same mistakes. Forget this.
I know, and that's why we're in a precarious place globally, right?
Yeah.
Because it could easily all just go Death Star and evil empire, and it could just as easily all go rebel force. We're right there. We really are. It's exciting, It's scary as fuck, but it's also exciting. Anyway, we're gonna move on into some of the more lighter things that occurred at G20, because if we're gonna die, we need to laugh. I'm serious. Angela Merkel wins the Eye Roll Award. I love this title. Merkel just eye rolled Vladimir Putin into 2018, and what we're seeing here is, it's beautiful. I love we never used to get this shit. Watch this clip. This is her. She's just so. Here he's lecturing, mansplaining. Blah 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 blah. Kill people. Blah 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 blah. Look at her. Oh. What's a good German like cuss for that? Just like we got to have a quote there.
Ach du Scheiße.
There you go. See, this is another reason why I need to learn German, because then I could rant and maybe throw some cussing in with German words, and that'd be exciting. I'd love to do that.
But if even Putin talked Russian to Angela Merkel, she would understand. She speaks Russian fluently. So.
Does she?
Yeah.
And Putin speaks German fluently.
Yeah.
See, these guys, they all know. Even the super criminals have more languages.
Yeah, he was an agent. He was a KGB agent in the former DDR.
Right.
And so he had to know the language.
That's right. He needed to kill in many languages. I forgot about that.
Yes,
And
exactly.
every man, woman, and child had to learn Russian in the DDR. So yeah.
Really interesting.
It was a school subject. Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. Why did we here learn English? Think about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You learned English because America, okay?
Yes.
That's why you learn English.
Of course.
All right, we're moving. I got a little video clip here from RT News. Of course, this is all fake. Came from Russian news, everybody. But we're gonna watch it anyway. This is just some of the more insights. G20 body language, reading between the lines. So it's got her eye roll. It's got a whole bunch of other stuff going on. I know everybody is talking about how Ivanka took. Was it Ivanka? Ivanka took Trump's place or Melania? I get the two mixed up. They're interchangeable woman bots. But quite frankly, everybody's upset about it. I'm like, who do you think's smarter?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to just ask either one of those two to sit down and have a discussion over diplomacy, she's got as good a shot as he does. Why not? He's just going to talk about his election win, he doesn't say anything of interest.
But she isn't the president of the United States who should be sitting in the seat. So
he isn't really either.
Yes.
But sorry.
Point.
All right, here we go.
Well, it looks like they're trying to find a way to get over something. So hopefully they're trying to find a resolution, building bridges, exactly.
Probably making fun of Trump.
Two of them are probably still trying to figure out how he got elected.
I hope they're talking about Ukraine and they need to sort that out.
Possibly stop, please stop.
Oh, well, maybe North Korea.
And they're talking about the rocket launch there, do you think?
Maybe.
They may be talking about cereal, what they ate this morning. Yeah. So so you put the conflicts in?
No, talk to them. Talk to them.
He's now saying this, which is a cut off, a red line in the sand.
What could that be in relation to?
It could be Europe, it could be NATO forces.
What do you think these three are talking about?
Discussing the menu.
Where they're going on holiday.
They're probably advising him on what to say to not sound so stupid.
I'm pretty sure he's going to embarrass us.
We'll help you. You get those refugees. Just take those refugees out of Paris. Don't worry. That's all you got to do. Just put them somewhere else and get them out of the country.
He has to say huge. It's huge. It's going to be huge. It's going to be great.
Probably where to go in the nearest bar or something.
Okay.
You want a bridge? I'll give you a bridge. This is the best bridge in the world. I could sell bridges to the bridge makers of everywhere. This is so good, so good. Don't worry about her. She's German. That's all right.
It's going to be super, super awesome. It's going to be awesome. Not a lot like fake news, but it's just going to be awesome.
Looks like he's flirting quite a bit, to be fair.
What, with Emmanuel Macron?
Yeah.
I'd flirt with Emmanuel Macron, to be honest.
Well, back in Hamburg, let's check out now some more highlights from the summit as world leaders set out to impress their counterparts and the host.
Vielen Gruppen.
Oh my God, there were several times that she reminded me of Bernie in Congress. Right? Just that was great. That's why I don't really care if Ivanka's there. Whatever.
I like the group photo because there you could see how clever Macron is, and And there was another thingy. If you remember 1 month back, how Trump urgently needed to be in the center of attention, and how he accepted to stand on the outer side of the group and said nothing. And then Macron, who was realizing this, and he didn't want to show him to be isolated on the one side, and he joined him. It was a very, very clever move by Macron, and maybe Trump found his nerves finally.
No, completely crap him out.
I have hope. I have hope for Macron. I really do. I know he's McHillary, and that's fine. But he invited everybody over who wants to work on scientists, really, okay. But he said, come on over and let's work on climate change together. And France is your country. I mean, I like Macron. I don't want to.
We will see if he will be the French version of Hillary, because let's give him credit. I think he has he picked a very, very interesting government from all sides, and just give him the credit. And the time will tell if he can stand to what he said, or if he turns out to be another Hillary.
I know. We'll see. He sounds great. Looks good. He can dive. Do you see? He went onto a submarine. Everybody called him James Bond. He's just doing all sorts of fun stuff. He's their Obama, right?
Yeah. That's the talk. I want to see the walk.
Right. Yeah. He's hope and change. Now that he's got to deliver that hope and change, right? So maybe more Macbama. I don't know what that would be. Bev.
Very closely watched.
Yeah, Bev, you're so right. Macron was very patronizing. I didn't think of that as bromance. He patted him like a 5-year-old. You're such a good boy on the end. I'm going to stand by you. It's okay. I really felt that was the way he was. You know, I'll talk with poor Trumpy. Nobody wants to be by Trumpy. You know. So what I want to know what this is. We're just going to cover this a little bit. It sounds like maybe, possibly, we might end up with British Bernie taking over, and I think that'd be great. He's working out some negotiations on the Brexit thing. Brexit might not happen. There's another article about that. I'm not really sure why. That's why Katie really wanted you to come on. Who did? Denise? He did, John. But I don't even know what you're talking. Remind me.
Context is helpful.
Yes,
and Katie would like to join us on Wednesday, if possible.
Oh, great. Good. So we'll find out what this is talking about. All I know is that Jeremy Corbyn's going to meet. He's going to do some things. He's working on it. He's talking to the people, and it sounds like there may be another election happening soon. We know that the Tories are looking for a campaign manager, and we know that people are pretty pissed off at May and the Tories right now. Very similar to how angry people are at the GOP right now, although Theresa May is a hell of a lot smarter than Trump. But
look what Michel Barnier said in his statement. I think it was on Thursday or Friday, when he said that he hasn't the impression that the UK side of the treaty commission knows exactly what's going on, and that he is worried that it would end in the worst case for the UK.
Yes,
and this is coming from the European Union Commission.
Right. Thank you, Denise. Yes, he did. He was patronizing. That's what you're talking about. And I hear you singing "Oh, Jeremy Corbyn." I'm going to ban it here too. God damn it, Dennis! You don't get to sing it at Wimbledon. You don't get to sing it on the Awake Show.
But I want to say, one sentence to Corbyn, to our audience. If you want to see a real democratic socialist, you have to look at Jeremy Corbyn, because he is really the thing when you're thinking about a democratic socialist. And for all the Americans who are fear-mongered about socialists, look at Corbyn. He's the real deal. So that's all I want to say about him.
We know.
And I will never stop to sing, "Oh, Jeremy Corbyn." I would love to have Jeremy Corbyn here in Germany, but hey.
Well, Melissa's going, "Oh, Bernie Sanders." We just go Bernie. It's just very simple. Well, listen, I think the fear of socialism is really not top anymore in America.
No.
I think the last 2 years we've come around quite a way. Fear of losing health care, fear of death, fear of police brutality, fear of being deported, fear of losing my job. All of those things are more present than socialism, because we've seen millions of Americans rise up and go, I support democratic socialists. I don't know, somebody in the audience might know this statistic right off the bat, but the Democratic Socialists of America, I think it was at least 20,000, but it's probably more. I don't remember the exact number. I know it was at least 20,000 new memberships, right? Huge membership increase, all right? And that's, I mean, don't worry about socialism. We got way bigger, scarier problems in America now.
You didn't shy away to make Trump president. Why should you shy away from trying socialism?
Exactly.
Or democratic socialism?
Exactly.
Why not?
We're like, let's go back to dictatorship. Oh, whoops, that was bad.
Yeah.
Right? That was a bad idea. Here, and as that's happening, here, we're going to go into the healthcare thing real quick. This is New York Times. GOP support for Senate health repeal erodes during the break because of you. Because of you. They're getting their asses handed to them everywhere. They're refusing to have town halls now. Paul Ryan's like, it's not safe for us. We're worried about people that are being disruptive. Those are your constituents, Paul. They're pissed at you. They're pissed at you. We're really mad. We're this close to going from words to pitchforks, right? This close. You got us this close. We're really going to try. We're really going to try. But that's what it is, Paul. And the Republicans, everywhere they go, that's why I get this great article. I was going to run a couple of things, but I want to go to this one. This one right here. No, that's Joe, asshole. There's a I gotta skip around. Where's this guy? There's one of the candidates. He's a Republican guy. He was going to vote for the Republican bill. It's in the list. Maybe I didn't load it today. That his daughter's doctor showed up at the town hall. It's like, you realize this is going to affect your daughter's care. Stupid fuck Republican. Hello. I mean, if you're there and you're faced with it, now he needs his daughter to show up. Dad, why are you being an asshole? You're willing to kill me? So who gets to make some money? I mean, this is when it really comes home, right? People are being arrested. We have people in the United States right now being arrested for protesting peacefully, just literally sitting in their representative's office. Right? They're being arrested. That's illegal. That right there is fucking illegal in the United States of fucking America. If we had politicians that were actually held to their laws, and if we had officers, if we had cops with the integrity to uphold the law on themselves and on our politicians, but we don't. We have spineless cops that have zero integrity. They just work for a paycheck. Okay. That's the problem here. In Germany, they've worked their democracy to the point where the police still have an understanding that they're servants that serve the public, and it's in their best interest not to go abusing them or being above the law. They can't do that. Here, we don't have that relationship anymore. We have to rebuild it, and we have to remove the people in office that aren't interested in having that. Right? It's working. Our anger, our angry words, our screaming, our yelling, our protests, our sitting in offices, that's having an effect. Republicans are scared. They don't want to hold town halls anymore, and they think it's just a small group of left, crazies. They really are in denial about just how many millions of people are pissed off at them right now. And that's good. In terms of war, we want our enemy ignorant. We want our enemy to really think that they've got it, they're done, because it'll make it so much easier to annihilate them. So, I'm just looking forward to that. Keep up the pressure, everybody. Your hard work on the ground, on Twitter, on Facebook, using potty language to let your representative know how you feel, all that counts. All that counts. It's pressure. It puts public pressure on them. There are now more than 10 Republicans who will not sign the bill. It started off, they needed 3, and they had 2. Just remember that. We went from 2 to 10 because of you, because of that pressure.
Not only us, because I think among the 10 are some like what is this idiot's name? Who was candidate? Ted Cruz, who doesn't follow it because it is still too good in their eyes, you know.
Right. Yeah, there is an entire group of there is that other group that, like the Koch brothers, they're like, this isn't horrible enough. We need to make it worse.
Yes.
That group though is losing traction because all they have to offer these reps is money, and the reps are like, you can offer me millions of dollars, but if I don't have a job and my house gets burned down, I think I'll stick with maybe not being quite so corrupt as you want me to be. You know,
Ted Cruz, $2.5 million from the health and the pharmaceutical industry.
Here we go.
There you go. That's nothing. That's a tiny amount.
But it influences.
Of course it does.
It influence their decisions, their denial.
Of course.
Those people all know what's going on in America.
Of course.
They know that single payer is the only system that will really help all Americans in the long run. But those people are getting money, and like I say, I think I sound like a broken record, but I say it all the time. Those people don't think about that money is nothing worth. Human life is more worth than fucking money. A piece of paper where a number is printed on and so on. I don't get it. Yeah, but hey, Dennis, calm yourself. Don't rant all the time. So yeah.
Dennis, you're a hippie.
I leave you on there. I leave you on there with the cigarette, Dennis, for ratings. Really.
I don't care.
Fuck you all, and fucking Americans, and fucking stupid.
Not Americans. I mean the politicians and the leaders and these rich fucks and all the idiots on this planet Earth who don't give a fuck about regular people.
Thank you. There we go. Melissa, there's multiple F-bombs for you today. Sorry if you're still listening. And to everybody else who listens at work, there is a disclaimer. I know you know that. I love you all. I wish I could.
Oh,
we're going to talk about. We're getting into some heavy stuff.
Hair.
What, Dennis?
There's a saying in the chat. You have fuckable hair.
I do.
Yeah, because Darcy mentioned it in a couple of minutes ago in the chat.
We've been talking about your hair.
That you are getting gray, and I said no, he's not getting gray. His hair getting sexier because man with gray hair will look at that's the real good thing to be a man. We don't get old and greasy and so on. No, we go getting sexier with age.
Who gets old and greasy?
Sorry.
Who gets? I'm much
Moving on.
appreciated. I've just decided to grow my hair out. Honestly, I've just been lazy, and I don't like getting my hair cut, and I don't want to go talk to a barber and get it done. That's it. And it is great.
But you have some cool barbers in your town.
What?
But you have so cool guys, so cool barber guys in your town.
Yeah, it is. Last time I went there, it was packed full of little kids, and no offense, love kids. It's just I don't want to sit in there with a bunch of fucking kids.
Everyone believes you.
Yeah, can't you tell?
They're not on your lawn.
Did I say genuine? Did I sound genuine enough? Yeah, I love children. Just give me your money. I don't know what anybody's. You guys think this is a mullet? It's just hair that hasn't been cut. That's all it really is. I have worn mullets in the past, and maybe those are coming back. What's wrong with that? All right, I just never mind. I'm not going to do that.
Your hair has very good swoop.
Thank you. I appreciate. I've worked hard at this swoop.
Yes.
Let it grow until Trump resigns.
God.
Yeah. And then, you look like Tom Hanks.
And then give us a skinhead.
No, I will never do that unless I have to. I'm not ashamed to go back to the What? Who's ashamed to go back to the lady that cut your hair? What? What are we talking about? All right, listen. I'm moving on because we've talked about all sorts of things. Really didn't want to stay that much time on. Certainly not my hair, but appreciate it. Two things. We're gonna run this story. This is a Now This story about an immigrant. All right, and quite frankly, I wish we had millions of these people here, and could displace a lot of asshole white folks. I'll just be 100% honest. Let's just watch this story, and then we're going to watch another story.
When I was 14 years old, I got in the back of a pickup truck. I was just a kid, and I wanted to come and get a job, make a little bit of money. We grew up very poor. We didn't have much. And I went to this area of California, and I begged for a job until someone actually hired me to do the most menial type of work. And I ended up saving some money and going back to Mexico and helping my parents who were struggling. That it was probably one of the most formative and magical times in my life. What I remember learning the most, the extraordinary work ethic that they had and the passion, and how thankful, how grateful they were to the United States for giving them a job, for allowing us to put food on the table, even though we were making at the time $3.35 an hour for extraordinarily difficult work, but we were all happy to be there. The most difficult obstacle that I had to overcome was to somehow believe that, number one, I had something to contribute to society, and number two, that I could actually do it. I met a classmate of mine who guided me through the application for the University of California and many other universities. I do anywhere between 200 to 300 brain surgeries a year. I am in my 12th year, so over 2,000 500 brain surgeries that I have done. And so I always think about it as being over 3,000 times that patients have given me a gift. My greatest accomplishment, it has been very simply being able to connect the laboratory and the operating room as with one bridge that allows us to learn from that patient, that allows us to give them hope. But in return, they give me the strength to keep going every single day. What excites me is the possibility that one day patients will not have to succumb to what I consider to be the most devastating disease that affects the human body, which is brain cancer. And I'm hoping that over the next decade or so, we will be able to translate all that knowledge in the laboratory back to the patient, because that's what they deserve. I would say that one of my favorites, as I look back, was actually picking tomatoes. I tell you why, because there were two kinds of tomatoes that I would pick. And the second type of tomato that we picked was through a machine that was an amazingly complex, what we call a tomato picker, where you would drive. And it's interesting because nowadays, when you go into the operating room and see me operate, I operate the same way. I connect with the patient with both of my hands, my feet control all kinds of microscope and spatial chairs, so I am completely connected, and I'm doing brain surgery this way. It was the similar principles that I used back then when I was picking tomato. They are amazing people. They are gifted in what they do, the messages, the movies that they made. I saw 12 Years a Slave. I saw The Big Short, Selma, Moonlight this year. And I am just blessed and proud to be a small part of it.
I'm surprised ICE hasn't come deported him for entering illegally in the first place. This is a story about ICE. We go from how wonderful immigrants are, and that's how this country was founded. My parents are immigrants. Not my parents. My family. On both sides, immigrants, and there are qualifications for becoming Americans on both sides. We've got Irish, English, Polish, and Ukrainian. All of them came through Ellis Island, right? All of them were sprayed for lice, and all of them were told to write their names down on a piece of fucking paper. Those are the qualifications. That used to be the qualifications. Right? I wouldn't be here if I had to deal with what they're doing today. Right? ICE has decided that they're not even going to check for criminal background. They're just hauling off immigrants now.
We have some bad hombres here, and we're going to get them out.
Not a good time to be anything but white in the United States of America, really. I mean, you've all seen stories that are going through Facebook, people getting stopped that are actually citizens. There are citizens that just because they're not white are being held and detained by ICE. That's illegal. I hope they sue the shit out of ICE. We have a American Gestapo, fully functioning, running around, deporting who they please. And it's our job to remain nonviolent while they do this. And watch your potty words. You know? Just, it's frightening. It's frightening. And one more on, just going to talk one more about police brutality and answers. I think this is a great idea. Minnesota's governor hopes to name a police training fund after Philando Castile. I wish they'd make an entire training course called Remember His Name. You don't get to act like this asshole and tattoo it on his forehead if you want to be a cop. I really think the reason I say that is because there are apparently cop groups that are opposed to this.
Wow.
Say it will cause division. Like, you know what? You guys being assholes is what's caused division. You guys not doing your fucking jobs causes division. You guys shooting people without a reason. Shooting Philando, you murderers. You don't get a say, public servants, in what training is named. And if we say you have to have it tattooed on your fucking ass and you want to be a cop, that's the way it'll be. I don't know why cops in this country right now think they have any room to say fucking anything. They're out of line. They're out of control. They're undertrained. They're undereducated. They're overarmed. And it's time that we bring cops back in line. That's going to take some effort. And that's going to take some words. Some real words. I can't believe any organization would even have a word to say. Cops, right now, with regard to training and names and that kind of stuff, you all just need to shut the fuck up. You don't get a word about it anymore. You have lost your integrity. You have lost your honor. And until I see all good cops stand up and stop the bad cops, I talk to you all. Platoon theory here, folks. One stinks, you all stink. Rise up, cops, and be better than the brutes you are. Be better. Philando Castile, fund. Name shouldn't be important other than to remember why the fund exists, which is to stop cops from being complete asshole murderers and getting away with it. I don't know. Undereducated, overarmed, and on your streets to protect and serve the people that pay them the most, which wouldn't be you and me. Joe Arpaio, the asshole cop, sheriff. They're still arguing whether this guy should be put in jail. The closing arguments are that the order to stop being an asshole and violating human rights wasn't made clear. That's what the fucking lawyer's saying. Well, we weren't really clear what the order was. Was it this? It wasn't clear, so really shouldn't put him in jail for not understanding the order. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm sorry to say, Joe is one of those guys I believe deserves direct justice. What do I mean by that? Throw him in Rikers. Throw him in General Pop. Put him in one of the prisons with some of the people he's abused, and that would be the circle of life. Call it that. Whatever happens to Joe, which was basically the attitude he had about other people. Karma, Joe. I hope karma comes back and kicks you square in the fucking face, Joe.
Make him live in one of those camps that he created himself.
Yes. I really do believe in that kind of justice. I really think sometimes that is appropriate, right? Somebody who's like Rexon, who's raped the environment, should spend the rest of his life cleaning oil off birds.
Yeah.
You know? Or cleaning up reclamation sites. That kind of direct citizenry punishment, I think, would be a really good example. And remember, these are super criminals, folks. Super criminals. I'm not talking about your run-of-the-mill breaking and entering, somebody who needs a little assistance. We're talking about people who have abused, murdered, raped, pillaged, and they get away with it. And they wear badges sometimes. Other times they wear suits and ties. Other times they wear skirts. Super criminals. So when I talk about justice handed down, I'm not talking about regular justice here. We're talking about super criminal, Lex Luthor-sized, destroy humanity super criminals. That requires appropriate justice, whatever that looks like. I'm just suggesting some things here. I realize I will never have a place in the justice system. There's a good reason. There's a good reason. Where are we at time-wise? Ooh, 10 minutes. Not good. Here's something positive. Ground game. Democracy vouchers aim to amplify low-income voices to conservative ire. Conservatives are pissed off about this. This is a brilliant idea. We talked about this months ago. This is happening in Seattle. These are vouchers. This is almost really publicly funded. It's not really publicly funded elections, but it's publicly funded candidates. It offers these vouchers, $100 vouchers, for people to give to candidates, and candidates can work to earn those vouchers. And I think it's a brilliant idea. It's, you know what I mean, Marcus? It's not quite as good as the, but it's taxpayer money being distributed, right, in vouchers that can go to support the candidate of their choice. Of course, conservatives argue that, well, we certainly don't want taxpayer money going to support candidates they oppose. It's the same concept as fire departments. If you get a fire department, so does the person you hate down the street, okay? That's the way this works. So shut up, conservatives. Yeah. It's a good idea. I hope it happens. I really do. I really think this is a nice step in the right direction. Washington, Seattle, they're moving. They're moving in a progressive direction. It's really cool to see where they go, right? That $15 minimum wage, well, where was it? Missouri just took it away. They went from $10 to $7. That ought to go well for them. I didn't know this was in question. Americans have the right to film police in public, court rules. I really didn't know that was in question. So in case you guys wonder, and in case a cop ever tells you you can't, you could tell him to shut up, because the court says you have the right to film cops because they're public servants. You should have the right to film any public servant out in public being a public servant. Because, you're the public. You're their boss.
They're the servant.
That's how it works. Say, I'm going to take a picture of you, public servant, because I want to. I'm not being a dick. I just want to take one. I'm going to film you. Make sure you're doing your job. The interesting thing about this, right, is that the arguments, there were good arguments on both sides in favor of this from the cops because they see it as a great way to exonerate them when they've done the right thing. And that's a good way to look at it, right? If you got a cop and what they've done is in question and the cop has actually done their job correctly, then the footage will exonerate them. 95% of the time, it's the opposite, but there are those rare cases, right? So wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be great? As long as they're on public property. Well, if they're in my home, I'm going to film them. If they come onto my property, I'll be filming. Just saying. Anyway. Oregon is doing this. We'll see if it. Kate Brown is probably going to pass it. This is 21 and over for cigarettes. And there's a lot of mixed feelings there. But I'll go with this. Cigarettes cause death. Cancer. Death. That's, most people believe in that more than they do climate change. So I have no problem with this. Right?
Drinking age is 21, so that actually kind of makes sense.
There you go. Drinking is 21, cigarettes 21, cannabis 21.
Hold on. Then sending young people to war should be 21 as well.
That's fine by me. Yeah. But I don't know why we equate our vices, our drugs and alcohol, our recreational choices with what we do send people to the military. Why? Why are these equivalencies? Who gives a fuck? Kid wants to go into military after high school. Go into military after high school. Sorry, you still don't get
that's voluntary.
Right, that's voluntary. I don't know why people equate that. And I get it. Say, well, if they're able to die for the country, if they make the choice at 18 to go possibly die for the country and understand that they're not going to be able to smoke cigarettes while they're there, that's their fucking choice. Just like if you choose to be a priest and realize that until you can find little boys to molest, you're not going to have sex. In the Catholic Church. Anyway. Oh. Sorry. Just had to go there. You make a choice. You make a choice. So I think it makes sense if we're going to have these rules. Alcohol, cigarettes, cannabis. I agree with raising the limit to 21. I think between the years of 18, although I think what would be cool in the United States to say between the years of 18 and whatever, civil service, some kind of service. If that's the military, fine. If you go into some other civil service, you're still not going to be able to smoke and drink on that job. I'm saying. Anyway. And Europe is a whole other story over there because you guys don't criminalize that stuff. Katie's talking about introduced to wine at 13. That happens to Catholics too. Introduced to wine as soon as you can go to fucking church and eat a communion, right? Trust me. Catholics teach drinking. They teach just say no and drinking, or that's what they did when I was growing up. I just got to cover this really quick, and we're going to get out of here. The whole thing with Mike Pence and NASA actually got really humorous because Mike Pence tried to jump in on the memeing. And we
didn't show it yesterday. Do you still got it?
So this is longer. This is it. Here's Mike Pence dropping a meme. Okay, so this isn't exactly the first time that has happened. I don't know who did this for Mike Pence. I seriously doubt he's got Photoshop skills.
Come on.
See that? Wow, Mike Pence knows Photoshop? I'm like, no. The best part about all of this is that NASA gave him a pass. NASA came on later and said, look, we put the sign on there. Figured you guys... NASA basically said, we're going to have to clean it anyway. Remember I said it's not in clean room? They wouldn't be in there with suits and ties if you couldn't touch it. They have to clean it anyway. So they figured. So anyway, just thought that was funny. You have to laugh. You have to laugh at this stuff.
No, it's so sad you can't laugh about it. The whole thing. I really think most of the time when I see your government, it's like a sad satire movie.
Oh,
really.
It's beyond that, but yeah.
You watch it and they think, really? Is this really reality what's happening? Yeah, but that's why some of your pictures and you show and so I'm over the point where I can laugh. I can't laugh anymore about this shit.
I know. Well, you'll go back in phases. You'll be in phase. I mean, I've gone to super serious. Now I'm to the laugh. Just because I got so angry about other stuff, I couldn't. It's just whatever.
Yeah.
I think it is very sad that Pence tried to blame Marco Rubio for this.
Well, they're just, it is sad. They're just public servants working on our dollar, goofing around at NASA. Why not? Why not? Right? All right. A couple more stories. I know we're not late yet, so I think we're doing all right. It's just a couple things. This is what I was talking about earlier, guys, about Elon Musk bringing a big dose of reality to fossil fuel folks and renewable energy deniers, people who say it's not going to work, it won't work, right? He's making the battery thing in Australia happen. And what this article in I think it's the Guardian is talking about is saying it will be a functional proof. He did it with an island. I guess that wasn't big enough. So you do it with all of Australia, which is really a big island, and continent. But he's taking South Australia, he's bringing in giant batteries, and he's going to give them renewable energy, and it's going to work, and it's going to be a solution. And then all of the right-wing people, all the people in Australia that are fighting it, are going to have to shut the fuck up. And once that functional example is in place and working, other nations are going to follow suit. They're going to see this. This is a great example. Elon Musk is really putting his company out there, his name out there, and says he's going to do this in 100 days or it's free. For him, as long as it works, if he's day 101 and says it's free, it's still awesome, right? For everything that we're working on with climate change, we need this. We need a project this big, basically to tell world leaders that are still sucking fossil fuel to shut up. Stop lying. Because they brutally lie to their citizens. They talk about, it's just not, we don't have the technology. It's just not scaled up enough. We can't possibly provide adequate energy. It won't be reliable energy because the sun goes down. That's all bullshit. The technology's here. The infrastructure's here. Just needs to be put in place. This is what we're learning. So,
and did you read the news a couple of days ago, which reported that many people lost faith in the stocks, in the Tesla stock market? I think there's a very mighty and powerful lobby currently working against him to make his efforts for alternative energies and batteries, to avoid his that he reached his targets.
Yeah, I know something a little bit about going on with that. I mean, his stock, the overall, they're not profiting huge. I mean, he's making a long-term investment. He's taking a loss on his vehicles, $4,000 a vehicle loss, just to get them out on the market,
Yeah.
And so I whatever's going on with his stock and valuations like that, I expect it all to be weird until we break that barrier, get over that hump of all of these fossil fuel people trying to keep it down. When the move of business sees the investment is in renewables and that's where the profit is going to be, and that shift is happening, right? That shift is happening. But you're right, Marcus. There's
of course, and we. Absolutely right, and but I think we will see in the near future and in the future we will see more of these messages, which purpose is only to irritate the stockholders.
Yeah. Oh, agreed. They're going to do everything they can. Right. Aaron is from Australia, South Australia, and says they're very happy with the battery. Says it's going to help keep electricity prices down here in South Australia. That was another thing that they were saying. They were claiming that some Australian, I don't know the names of the individuals, Australian PMs were claiming that renewables were going to raise prices for people because of the cost of putting them there. It's like, are you really? What other bullshit can you make up? I mean, just how much more? So Aaron says it's going to keep prices down here in South Australia during peak periods. We're happy this battery is being built. That's the other thing. Right now, peak energy demand is when electric companies make the bucks, right? And they're not going to get that anymore because batteries, 5,000 plus year old technology finally being applied to store energy for us, all of us, because we can make really good batteries today. After 5,000 years, we've got it down. No more orange juice and pots. We got it down. Batteries. Elon Musk. Kicking ass. And for those of you who are talking about the problems with batteries, lithium, the other things, they have new batteries coming out that don't even use those harsh chemicals, and I'm sure we will replace the current batteries with those batteries as we move forward, right? One step at a time. One step at a time. We have to reinvent an entire industry of energy, and we're moving. We're moving on it, right? It's just one step at a time. Right, you got hydrogen fuel cell system. That's been going for a long time. We're waiting to see that come on. What do we talk about, Brom? It's not just natural for humans to kill one. It's what are we talking about? Killing one each other? Brom? Humans are the only animal that kills for pleasure. There's question, maybe for pleasure. I'm not sure it'd be for pleasure, but there's been studies about chimpanzees doing some harsh shit too. But anyway, we're out of here. We're out of here. Really. I don't. We're gonna watch something funny. You want to see some raw humanness out of MSM? Make you laugh. I love it when that shows up. Marcus, what?
Come on, show it to us.
Is this a creepy drone blimp?
No, the drone blimp. You guys want to see? I have that first. Let's watch the drone
It's
blimp.
on the card. I've been.
All right, you've been dying to see the drone blimp.
Yeah.
I think the idea is awesome, but the way it moves freaks me a little bit. And if you project like a face on this, you could see like an anime face or like a big turn this into thing. It could be really weird. Could be really weird. But there's so many applications for this. You could put a light on the inside of it, float it over something at night, and have it. There's a lot of it's cool, but it's a little creepy the way it moves. That's all I'm saying. Imagine a HAL floats around like this. So there's a lot. Can you see where you could use that for a lot of different things?
Mm-hmm.
And if you take that and scale it up 1,000 times, that's my floating command center. Right? That's the Cobra command center scaled up, or not the Cobra, the Bernie command center scaled up, BTV command center scaled up, and then you put a whole just home on the bottom, the bottom part of it. Just make it huge, right? Fly it around, doesn't have to go very fast. Provide internet wherever you are, cameras, light. Nice.
You can name it Marvin. He looks like the android on Hitchhiker's Guide that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Face on him with sad eyes.
Yeah.
It'll never work.
What's the point of it? Is that what you're asking for? It's a drone camera. So for people that are recording drone footage, right? Although if you were in Standing Rock, they were shooting at drones. That one shot, you're done, right? But otherwise, it's a great idea. If I were going to have a drone and have it fly around to that, it's a good idea.
I'm not allowed to have a drone here in Germany, so yeah.
What did you say that? What, Dennis?
I'm not allowed to have a drone privately.
You're not? Why?
Germany. yeah, there were some new laws because some idiots caused a lot of damage with their drones here. Yeah, so therefore we have new laws here that you can't fly around a drone just as you like.
Everybody or just you?
No. Everybody.
Okay.
It's nothing special for me. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I was like, maybe they had some.
But you're on the no-fly list. We figured this might be an extension.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So no droning.
I should never have it mentioned. Yeah.
All right. Anyway, I just cool. Chemo. Nazis did real good with dirigibles. No. Well, I mean, once they got over the hydrogen thing, did they? They never really got over the hydrogen thing. Hydrogen, bad. That's the problem with dirigibles. Good idea, bad elements. And now we have carbon fiber materials. We've got so many ways to make them so much better. I'd love to have a floating home that was just on a tether. You know? I think it'd be kind of cool until somebody cut your tether. Mr. Ellis's house is floating away. Like the kids on the street, you know? Damn kids, stop untethering my home.
Anyway. And I see the big writing on the side of the wall, Enterprise.
Right, yep.
Captain Alice on board.
When you can have your floating home designed, I could have the balloon. The float shape could look like the Enterprise. You just put the home underneath. There you go. See, talking about the issues that matter. Yeah. All right?
All right.
That's what this show is about.
What was the MSM DIY moment? I'm sorry I distracted you from that, but that was where you were going before.
The drone show sounds boring. I agree.
Drone show.
We have a great shot from drone 5. It's passing over a suburb now. And there's drone 6 going by the Statue of Liberty at 10 miles an hour, everybody. 10 miles an hour. And it would be very boring. All right. Here's it'd be like golf, but golf is fun to watch because you watch everybody hit. This would be more. You're right. It'd be more boring than golf. All right, the MSM humor. You know that. I mean, everybody that goes on mainstream media, their makeup, they're meant to look professional and be professional, and they're not supposed to say anything wrong or bad, and you know they're all pretty clean. When they do mess up. And then they figure out that they messed. I mean, this wasn't like a word mess up. You just said something you shouldn't have said. It didn't come out right. Let's put it that way. But when they do and they catch it and they actually allow themselves to be human beings on air, I think it's much better to watch. I'd rather them do that all the time, right? Maybe not as far as we take it here, where there's zero professionalism and it's just human beings. But, you know, that's what I'm talking about. So let's watch it. This is a newscast and they're talking about DIY. That should DIY.
What's a super?
Oh, they're gonna make me watch the ad. Here, watch the ad, everybody. I thought I'd run through this. There we go.
23,000 hours. Now I can't attest to that because I've only been alive for a fraction of that time, but we'll get there together.
Yeah. Well, don't bet any money on that. All right, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. Speaking of do-it-yourself, that's your kind of thing, Maria. You love doing it yourself.
Good morning, everyone. Sometimes, yeah, I can take 5 days ahead. What we have coming our way, we have.
He can't always got me.
Don't start. Okay. Good morning. We're back to reality. That's what I have to work with. See, I'm here doing the weather, and I can see what's going on in the background, and it's always some sort of shenanigans.
That was nice. A little human moment from MSM. You like to do it yourself, don't you? My answer would have been, you don't? Anyway.
It's just a human thing, so yeah.
There you go. What are you guys talking about drones still?
Yeah, we're talking about good applications for drones and other things where they wouldn't necessarily be in danger of being shot down on site.
Right, not Standing Rock. So like whale watching, that's a good one. I see that. That's a good.
Yeah, fire watching. You know, in the mountains here, where you you could have drones that will immediately pinpoint a fire. You could have for rescue efforts.
Yeah,
there's all.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's absolutely, absolutely. All right, so we're
done. We made it.
We're done. We're done with the show. We're appropriately late, like normal.
That's super Saturday.
We had thank you everybody for being here, Laura and Dennis. Thank you for joining us and ranting, and Marcus. Thank you for being here as always.
Thanks for having me.
And what do we got going on? I think we missed the Bernie Sanders rally live stream that was happening at 11, maybe. I'm not sure. We'll have to look that up. There are some Bernie Sanders events that are happening today. If you go to Bernie Sanders on Facebook, they're streaming those. All right, so I think it was today. Anyway, I'll find out. I'm a little behind on things. I was going to get those going. But he's got some more rally points coming up, and I'm going to try to stream the ones that I can get a hold on, all right? So there is that. Get involved with your local, whatever we want in politics. I don't really care. What we're finding right now is that anybody who actually gives a shit about having a democracy is now working with some aspect of their democracy to make it happen, right? It is a unified effort because we realize that the people at the top are just not cutting it, right? When Ivanka can sit in for a sleepy Trump and Christie can basically drop in and photobomb Putin, you don't know what's going on anymore. We can laugh, but we're going to die. And we have all the power we need to take back our government. Marcus picked the end song because, and it's appropriate if you listen to the words. I'm going to let him tell you about it. But, I mean, we can riot, we can protest, we can get angry, we can physically destroy stuff all we want. And it may have some effect on the overall scenario. But none of that effort will actually put power in your hands. None of it. Right? And that's what we need, is the power in our hands. Marcus, what did we go out with today?
We are going out today with the Dead Kennedys, and I think I don't have to talk much about Dead Kennedys. Everybody of you guys know them. And it is quite fitting. It is the song Riot, and it says in the chorus, it says quite exactly, in my opinion, tonight is a blast, but tomorrow we're homeless, and this is exactly what's going on in Hamburg today. And
right.
it is violence against objects for absolutely no purpose, and it doesn't help the movement against the G20, against a group of people who decide about the world's fate, and it discredits all those who are working seriously to find solutions. And yes, it's a critical video. Of course, it's a Dead Kennedy video, and yes, I hope you guys enjoy it. And we go out with this. And thank you all for watching. Thanks to Dennis, Laura, of course, for being here with us, and John. And see you guys on Tuesday.
Awesome.
Thanks. Thank you, Marcus.
Yeah.
Thank you, Marcus.
Thank you, everybody.
Mm-hmm. Bye, everyone.
Oh, sorry, Laura. There you go. Say wave bye.
Bye, everyone.
All right. Thank you for that outro. Everybody in the audience, thank you. You make this program happen. Thank you for being here. And we'll see you on Tuesday, unless I end up finding a live stream. Dead Kennedys.
Rioting, the unbeatable high. Adrenaline shoots your nerves to the sky. Every town is gonna blow. And it's all gonna blow right now! Now you can smash all the windows that you want. I really need some friends and a rock. Throwing a brick never felt so damn good. Smash more glass, scream with a laugh, and wallow with the crowds. Watch them kicking people's ass. To get to the place where the real safe drivers live, it's walled up by the riot squad and gets right at your head. You turn right around, play right into their hands, and set your own neighborhood burning to the ground and stirred. Riot the unbeatable high, riot sends on into the sky, riot flying right into the hands. Tomorrow you're homeless, tonight it's a blast. Your licks in quick, they're calling the National Guard. Now could be your only chance to torch a police car. Climb the roof, kick the siren in, and jump and yelp for joy. Quickly dive back in the crowd, slip away now, don't get caught. Let's move past the great high frog and as much as you can hold. Throw your ball on, so fall off, here comes the yellow with a gun. Riot the unbeatable high, riot sends on into the sky, riot flying right into the hands. Tomorrow you're homeless, tonight it's a blast. The barricades spring up from nowhere. Cops in helmets line the lines. Shotguns drive into your bellies. The trigger fingers want an excuse. Now! The raging mob has lost its nerve. There's more of us, but who goes first? No one dares to cross the line. The cops know that they've won! It's all about the not quite the bits have just begun to fight! Clap your hands, get your teeth, police can riot on the back ways! Riot the unbeatable high! Riot sends on into the sky! Riot flying right into their hands! Tomorrow you're homeless, tonight's the blast! Riot the unbeatable high! Riot sends you into the sky! Riot flying right into their hands! Tomorrow you're homeless. Tonight it's a blast. 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 Tomorrow you're homeless. Tonight it's a blast.